I was just thinking about something that we covered in a recent lesson where it was talking about marriage. And I know that there's a few passages that reiterate that a man shall leave his father and his mother when speaking about taking a woman. And it made me think about everything up to that point. And with what we deal with here in the United States and maybe even other situations across the diaspora, when you talk about the wealth gap and building up generational wealth for future posterity, it made me think and wonder, is forcing or coercing or highly motivating young, productive, doing the right thing men who are not married yet to get out of the home of their parents at 18 or 20 years old or so, is that effective? Is that proper? Now, I know that that may be the way that these things have tended to go in modern day Western Babylonian culture, but I just don't know if that was the case traditionally and historically. You know, what if young men didn't leave out of their parents' house until they were going to get married? And then when they were setting up a new household for their wives and for their family, that they were going to start. You know, as long as the young man is being productive and doing what he needed to do, he was taking the steps to, you know, or if he was already in a position to provide for a woman, to set up and establish his own household, but for economic reasons, for pragmatic reasons, for strategic purposes, if he was going to save his wealth and still be in his profession or his business, maybe it was a family business, and not have to use that capital that he was saving up until he knew he was going to get a woman, that they were going to get married, and he was going to start to set up a household for the two of them to live in and to grow under. Then at that point, he starts to leave his family's house. He starts to build and establish that new household and make ready for his woman and the new life they're about to embark on. Now, ideally, this would be talking about in a nuclear family where you have a mother and a father in a home, a very traditional family upbringing, in a situation of a single parent, especially a single mother. You know, that's maybe a separate issue because you're going to have additional circumstances that go along with this, that go along with that situation. But ideally, I'm talking about the nuclear family. Mother and father, married together, stable, in the same house. Should we be forcing our young men that are studious, that are productive, that are industrious, that are positive, that are responsible, that have a good head on their shoulders, they're doing the right thing, should we be so eager to force them to leave the house at 18 or 20 or 21 if they're still bachelors and if they're not married yet, even not even maybe betrothed to a woman? I understand how that may seem to some of these women, but once again, these so-called standards in Babylon aren't really the best way of going about things. So I just want to raise a question, something to think about in the community, and how maybe we should change things moving forward. Because I don't know with my sons for the future, I don't know if I would be so eager to push them out of the house as young men if they were basically doing the same things that I was doing when I was a young man. Because I didn't really get into trouble. I was doing the right things. And if I had my sons in my house and I'm helping them build wealth, I'm teaching them financial literacy, I'm helping them expand their fortune and their capital for the future so they can provide for a household for their future wives. I don't know if I would necessarily be so eager to push them out of the home. I would make sure that they would be responsible and they would be men who would be able to take care of themselves without, daddy having to hold their hand. But I don't know if I would just be so eager to push them out of the house until they were getting married or betrothed to a woman. In my personal situation, it was different. I've always been pretty independent, even as a child. And I pretty much kind of knew since very early on, at maybe like 10, 11 years old, I knew that 18 years old, I wanted to be out the door. And my circumstance was maybe a little different, But for young men who, if there's really no rush or no incentive to put them out of the house, and if they're doing the right thing, and if they're showing the traits that they're responsible of taking care of a household, leading a household, taking care of a woman, taking care of children, I just don't know if we should be so eager to push these productive young men out of the house, maybe a little prematurely. So, what do you all think about it? Leave a comment. Let me know how you feel, especially from a traditional standpoint, from other cultures, from African culture or from Hebrew culture, Eastern culture, not so much Western American Babylonian culture. Let me know what you think about this, and please make sure to share this, like, and subscribe. Till next time, Shalom.